Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Why We Grow. And today I am really excited to be sitting down with Anne Marie.
Hi, how's it
So,
going?
so Anne Marie, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Sure, yeah, I have in my past life, my former life, I was a journalist, a TV news anchor, and then I got married and had kids, and so my job is raising my kids and now our plant babies as well. We got into gardening last year and really decided to hit the ground running, and it's been a fun journey. So, getting the kids involved with the planting, what we plant, how we plant, and then cooking the food and trying to educate them about what's good for our bodies and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. And where are you located again?
We're in Michigan. We're in a northern suburb of Detroit. Zone
Okay, so
6A.
okay. I was gonna say it must be pretty cold up there.
It is. Yeah, it's been you had an ice storm that was super unexpected for you guys, but we've had some
Mhm.
really sub-zero temps, but everything's started melting and I'm hearing the
Ooh.
birds chirping. So fingers crossed that we've kind of crossed that threshold and we're moving towards spring. Because I'm
Oh,
over it
that's
at this point.
I feel you. I feel you. I am hoping that this was the last of the cold, but I know it's just like the false spring down here again. I know
Right.
we'll have something sneak in, but still, I'm like, this is amazing weather. I was outside, like, just in this and no
No
jacket
way. Okay.
today.
It's not that warm here.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, I think
Just being able to
it's
get the kids
58 out
outside,
there.
able to get the kids outside without bundling up, to the most extreme with the snow pants and the coat, it makes it so much easier. But it's been fun too. Winter's been fun. Snow's been fun. I'm ready for gardening season though.
Yeah. So last year was your first year then gardening.
Yeah, at this house, I had done it my single life and I loved it, but I never grew. I just enjoyed growing and cooking
Mhm.
for myself. It wasn't anything that I was thinking about with my family or to on a large scale. So we did a few little things our first year at this new house. And then last year we just said, let's go for it. So we brought in some big raised garden beds and some trellis and some cattle panels, and we just went for it and grew
Nice.
a little bit of everything, and it was so fun. It was the best thing we've ever done.
Oh, that's amazing. So what got you inspired? Like what made you decide to jump in and do that?
Just having kids and well, I think what kind of got me looking into food ingredients was seeing especially my oldest behavior. He can have even I swear strawberries will make him a little bit wild, like that fruit juice still. But starting
Yes.
to look at what has added sugar in it, and then you kind of go down the rabbit hole, and I was like, what can I do on my end that can eliminate a lot of these processed foods and added ingredients. And always knew I loved gardening. I just had my second baby, and I was like, I need something therapeutic I can do with my hands, something that is my hobby. It's kind of funny, to take care of more things, right? After having two kids. But I don't know. I just need to use my brain. I wanted to start from seed and really learn about all of that process. So that's what got me started, a whole conglomeration of all of those things. And also it was something I could do with the kids. So
Yeah,
that
for
was a
sure.
bonus.
Did they love going out in the garden as much as you did?
Oh my gosh, they love it. They have their
Yeah.
little things that they love, and they loved doing the seeds too. Because I let them play in the dirt, just the seed starting mix, and they're pouring the seeds over, and we're pushing them in. And it's okay if some things don't germinate. I want them to be involved. They see the lights. They help me water. They smell and they can identify certain plants. It's so fun. We were out, and it was a little bit warmer a couple days ago, but enough where we could kind of go over by the garden area and look at stuff. And my youngest, so she's a year and a half, and she's like, Mama, eat, eat. She wanted to go over and pick the tomatoes off the vine that we did in the summer. I couldn't believe that she remembered that. being so young, but it like really impacts them. Like they get it, you know.
That's amazing. So what was their favorite thing to grow?
Well, Georgia would go out, and that's my daughter would go out and help me with the zinnias. She like loved the zinnias. She loved that she could touch them and like
Oh,
smell them. And I think the colors, being so young, you know, she wasn't even a year old. She was kind of like hobbling or crawling around. So she loved that. But then she loved the cherry tomatoes. So she was like when she was going over saying eat eat, we just like pick the cherry tomatoes off, and they would just house them. And then my oldest, he
love
loves
that.
strawberries. So he would always want to like go pick all of the strawberries, the peppers. I think he just gets excited about like seeing things grow and like knowing what they are. You know, that's the most exciting part. And like he can touch it. He can like put his hands in it. Carrots were really exciting too. Um,
Yeah,
so
that is
he kind
fun.
of just
Did you
liked
guys grow
to.
the rainbow carrots?
Yeah, we did. That was
Ah,
really
those are the best with kids because it's so fun. Like I know for us, whenever we're going through and harvesting the rainbow carrots, they're always like calling out what color they get because it's always a
yeah.
surprise. You never know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
and onions. Onion is
yeah.
fun too, like having him go in and a red one, a white one. Like the root
Oh, that's
vegetables really
cool.
are fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let them get their
Oh,
hands in the dirt.
yes, for sure. That's so cool. Yeah. So tell us about how your first year went. Did you jump all in, or what all did you
Not to
do?
brag, but yeah, we did. We did. We like we went all in, and I got, I don't know, like they're like 10 foot by 3 foot beds. I got two of those, and so like pretty big. And then another one that's about like 8 foot by 3 foot, I think.
Mhm.
And I call that like my salad bar, where I have all of my lettuce, and I did like cabbage
Nice.
and spinach and kale in there. But everything turned out so well. The tomatoes were definitely the star of the show. Like I would go out at night after I got the kids to bed, and a lot of times I would be dressed like head to toe in like the summer because the mosquitoes were terrible last year. So
Oh
I'd have
goodness.
like some incense burning, and I'd be like covered up with a headlamp on. I think I'm going to put a light out there this year because I don't have like a good light over there, with a headlamp, just pruning my tomatoes. And I'd have like a cup of nighttime tea. I'd have like an audio book, and who needs therapy? Like that is therapy. It was the best thing
I
ever.
hope
I
you
took
have pictures of this outfit to
I
share.
don't know if I do. You'll have to use your imagination. But I would just like tell my husband, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go see my tomatoes.
Oh,
So, and
that's
they
so cool.
grew and grew. We were harvesting them. I mean, this is Michigan, right? So it gets cold quickly. And we were harvesting them, I think, the end of November. I was still taking like red tomatoes that were viable off of the
Wow.
vines. I took the green ones, put them in a paper bag, and through December, I was still eating tomatoes. I could not believe it. It's
Wow,
like
that's incredible.
wizardry. So that
What
was so
variety of
fun.
tomatoes were you growing? Do you remember?
I was growing the I grow like the Parks pick. I always like if it has like the Parks
The
pick
Parks
on it.
Whopper,
Yes, that, and then their like cherry tomato version
the
too.
junior? Oh,
Yep.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones. I mean, we probably had like, I'm telling you, hundreds of them
Yes.
at a time. It was,
Yes.
I mean, just so beautiful. And then like I grew like a Roma tomato as
Hmm.
well. And then this year I like lost my mind with tomatoes and tomato seeds, and I'm so excited. I'm trying to think, I had some around, but like I got like a purplish, like purple Cherokee, I think, is that what it's
Oh,
called?
yeah, purple Cherokee. Yes.
And then I
I
got like
love
the
it. They're so
tomato.
pretty.
Do they taste good?
Yeah, yeah, we've grown them. They're not going to be quite as prolific as like the other ones. I feel like for me at least personally, but yeah, I really like those.
So I and then I got like a dark cherry tomato version of those as well, and
Nice.
um, just like an
There
early
there
one.
is a cherry tomato that's like it's called chocolate cherry tomato.
I've seen those.
Was one that made it so my kids would want to go out there because they're like, I want to go get the chocolate tomatoes. Let's do it.
That's like exactly, if you want to like sum up like having kids in a nutshell. That is it. That's like so perfect. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
So
That's
I
the way
think
to get them
that might be the small one I got because I know I did get like a small dark one on top of that. And yeah, I probably got too many different varieties this year, but that was like my baby. And I grew like too many peppers last year. So I'm going to like have a little bit more space in the beds and I'll be able to fill them with the tomatoes.
in. Oh, there's no such thing as too many peppers.
Well, my problem was I started everything inside, and so this is like a lesson, like label each plant perfectly because like as I was like moving them from like the biodomes into like the dirt and stuff, I just like was tired and was like, okay, these are peppers and these are tomatoes. At a certain point, that was it. So then I just took the healthiest of those and that's what I planted. So I had a lot of spicy peppers.
Oh,
And I
okay.
mean, I probably needed like one plant to like put in some salsas and stuff. Like the kids aren't going to eat anything spicy. Like having it in the kitchen is like dangerous because they're trying to like grab them off of the vine. So like
Uh-huh.
that's what I need to like change from last year. Was like I'm not kidding. The salsa peppers, I probably had like
Always
500
seem
at
to
the time.
grow so great for you, don't
They
they?
were crazy
Yes.
and
Just
delicious and great. But I was
yeah,
just like, people would come over and I'd be like, here's a bag of salsa peppers. Like, there you go. I didn't know what else to do with them.
I love it. Well, there's really easy ways to preserve them. I preserve them so many different ways. Like we've ran them through a food processor before and got them like into little like chunks and then frozen them. And then that way we can just pull them and saute them into like whenever we're making something. Anytime we're pretty much like sauteing onions and garlic, like I would toss some of those in too. So like for quesadillas or things like that that I wanted to add a little spice to.
That's a
We've
great idea.
also dehydrated some and like made our own like red pepper flakes. That's really cool.
Ooh, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get that deep. I like hung some to dry. I
Yeah.
pickled some.
Ooh, yes, that was probably our new favorite way that we did it last year was pickling.
That
We
is so
wow.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so fun. Pickling has been like great, especially at the end of the season when you're like dreading everything's going to be done
Mhm.
and you're like, we have to eat it all, we have to pick it all. And so yeah, I still have stuff in my fridge. I still have some like pickled cabbage and some pickled peppers.
Nice. That's
So
great.
yeah,
Yeah, I was really surprised by how simple that was because I've always been like I was overwhelmed, I think, before,
yes.
and I was like, "Oh, I'll just freeze everything. It's so much simpler." Which it is super easy, but I mean, pickling is just as simple too. Like,
I actually got one of these things. I don't know. I just like saw an ad online, and it's like a vacuum sealer that you can use in like the mason jars. So
hmm,
when I would make just like a small batch of pickles, and still now when I'm doing this during the winter, I'll just like vacuum seal like 3 or 4 mason jars, and I know that we'll go through them in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I don't even have to worry about like all of the canning process. That just like keeps them like um,
interesting.
nice and fresh for a couple weeks. Yeah, it's been a little shortcut if I don't feel like doing the whole canning thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. I haven't ever done that.
I'll
I've
send you
always
the
just
link.
done
It's like
like
4 bucks.
nice. I've
Yeah.
always just done like the water canning, and then I actually did bust in and get like an actual pressure canner. And
Ooh,
yeah, I did that for the first time this year, so that was exciting.
you're big time.
I know, right?
What was the difference? Like, how was it like comparing the two? How you
Well, so
describe
there's just some things that like require to have pressure canning done as opposed to just a water bath. Um, I know one of those things was like chicken broth because I like to make a lot of like bone broth and chicken broth, vegetable broth, all of that. And those aren't one that you can water bath. You have to use a pressure canner. So that was ultimately the main decision why I did it.
yeah,
But
weird.
because I was just water bathing like all of my tomatoes and tomato
Yeah.
sauce and stuff like that.
Oh man, I'm so excited now just thinking about it and talking about it.
I
If I
know,
could talk
right?
anyone's ear off about gardening all the time, so like I have to like limit it in the winter. I don't know if everyone wants to go on about tomatoes, but strawberries are going to be like a big thing for us this year.
Nice.
Last year we did okay. I did the grow bags.
Mhm.
We have a lot of birds, and like they did okay. They weren't like great. So this year I really want to like focus on them and make sure that we're able to grow them bigger and stronger. I didn't save the bare roots. I didn't know I was supposed to. So I have
I
some more
know, but
coming.
you live, you learn, right?
I
Like,
know. I wish I would have known that, but I have more coming this year, and so I'm going to try it in the beds actually this year.
oh, good. Yeah.
I'll take a little
I
bit
mean,
more.
honestly, that's how I grow. I either grow them in like the really large smart pots, like the big, large round raised bed. They're like 100-gallon. I've done it in there
Okay.
before. I've done it in like wooden raised beds. That's how I prefer to do them, just because they're always like, wanting to branch out and plant
Yeah.
new ones. And I'm like, you do you. I'm gonna let you do that in a garden bed.
Yeah, I love the smart pots. So I used those for some onion and some potatoes last year, and like
Oh yes.
what a cool like concept and thing to like have to utilize. I love those.
Yeah, I always tell people if you grow nothing else in smart pots, grow potatoes. Like because potatoes are just so it's amazing to grow these in smart pots because they first, I mean, they're gonna perform super well. But when harvesting is just so much easier.
So much easier. Yeah, for sure. I think I'll do like regular potatoes, like a russet style, in the smart pots this year. And then I have like a spot in the bed for the purple sweet potatoes because those like
Ooh,
fawn out and
nice.
are so beautiful. So
Yes.
I have like a special spot for those. And maybe I'm wrong, but like white potatoes and like sweet potatoes aren't supposed to be like grown together. Like they don't like each other. Is that right?
Yeah,
Or am
well, it's different seasons too. So potatoes are grown in like the cool season, and
yeah.
then sweet potatoes are going to be for when it's really hot out. So
Oh, okay.
we
Yeah, I
plant them.
have
Yeah, they're planted at different times. So.
they're coming whenever they come. I have like a whole list. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
keep it on track. We started our onion, and that's been so fun. I did from onion sets last year,
Uh
so this
huh.
is the first year for onion seed, and
Ooh,
it's
that's
great.
exciting.
I mean, I thought it was gonna be super hard. I just thought I'd try it. We could try
Uh
something
huh.
early. No, we had like insane germination, and
That's
it's been
terrific.
fun. We're giving them little haircuts.
I love it. Get
It's
some
been
green
really
onions.
Yeah, I don't think we're really quite at the, well, maybe I could do the cooking stage. I'm still at the stage where I'm like cutting off the seed at the very end, you know? So I don't know if I'm going to cook with them yet, but maybe like tomorrow or the next day.
That's exciting. Yeah, I will say chives are my favorite, like one of my favorite herbs because I love green onions and chives will just keep producing over and over and over for you and we'll just yeah, we have a hard time getting rid of it once we plant it. That's how great it is. So
What do you like to plant it with? Like, what do you pair the chive with in your garden beds?
honestly, I usually put the chives in its own smart pot because it will spread. It's
Yeah.
kind of like mint almost, but not as like aggressive as mint.
Okay.
But I will put it into its own container and let it take over the entire container.
Ooh, I can
Yeah.
like
And
smell it.
it's I know, right? It's amazing companion plant. It does really good. Like, so I'll move around and put it next to different things too. Whenever it's in a
That's
container, it
what's
makes
nice
it
about the
easier.
smart pots too, is being able to like keep them mobile.
Yes. Yeah. Because we're always moving things around based on the sun or if we have like an unexpected freeze
Yeah.
or anything like that. Like we even moved some peppers inside of our garage to try to keep them overwintered too. I mean, like
Did it
if you
work?
have them in smart pots, like yeah.
Did it work at all? Were you able to keep the peppers?
We kept them for a lot longer than we would have been able to, but it got too cold.
I know.
I mean, it was just too cold in the garage too for them to thrive over the winter. But it did extend their life at least.
I mean,
So
that's a
I was
big
happy
win
about
right
that.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had like one rosemary plant that was like so beautiful, and she was like, I brought her in and she was going, and I'd like even like pop open our front door where we just have like a glass door to like give her sun. And a couple weeks ago, I had to say goodbye.
Oh,
I didn't have like my like seed starting everything set up yet, so I have some rosemary under the lights over here right now, trying to recreate that.
good, good. I love rosemary. I love
It's
growing rosemary.
Me
The
too.
smell of that. Talk about smells. That's probably one of my favorite. And we've had like rosemary. Have you ever seen a rosemary bloom before? Like the flowers?
No, it's like a different
And
variation,
it's
right?
so nice. No, we had it. It just happens sometimes. Like, and I was like, we had grown it for years and never had it. And then like we had it happen this last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful and it smelled incredible.
That's when you know you're like doing it right. And yeah,
I hope so.
amazing. No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look that up. But I love like the smells. I've been doing like simmer pots with like herbs that were left over, lavender, just like fresh
Nice.
lemon in the house. And then I was, well, I don't know, I saw that keeping like the stove on all the time isn't great. So I just got a crock pot where I
Oh,
can
great.
just, it's like a mini crock pot that I can
Uh
just
huh.
keep on the counter. And that's like way easier than having the stove on because I'd be like turning it off if the kids were and so I
Yes.
can just like throw herbs in there and like lemon or like an orange slice and like that's how I like to keep the house smelling good all the time.
Oh, what a
So
cool idea. I love that.
so yeah, just like I have like bunches of like lavender and other things throughout the house that still it still smells so good. But yeah, just throwing a little bit in the simmer pot and especially in we're in almost what March now, it makes everything feel a little bit more alive. Things get like dusty, the air gets like stagnant, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to take you up on that. I'm gonna try to do that too because I haven't ever done that before.
Oh yeah, and you probably have like a ton of like things that you have around that you can throw in, right?
I'm sure.
Because you guys
Yeah,
have so many varieties. Oh, that's
everywhere because we try to grow things year round. Like I have a bunch of stuff behind me, but I also have like a sunroom over here where we have a few herbs and we're growing a bunch of greens and things over there too. So that's exciting.
cool. I know I'm tempted to grow now that we have like our inside grow light set up. I'm tempted to just grow like a round of lettuce that I can just have in here that we can just eat, you know, and
Yes,
they might just like do their thing and then plant ones that I'm going to transplant outside.
you totally
Um,
should. Yeah.
I might, okay, you think that's not crazy? That sounds
No, no,
good.
I do
Sustain.
it all the time. So unless I'm crazy, which
Well,
I might be,
birds
so
of a feather, right?
yep, yep.
No, I'll do that then because even like I was just the kids have like little like colds right now, and I was like making them like a fresh juice, and I can like throw in. I threw in like some spinach, like they'll never know, you know, and that kind of stuff. I love having greens around to just put in their food any way that I can try to get them to eat it.
Have you ever done microgreens before?
I tried microgreens and they didn't work out last
Oh,
year. But yeah, they just didn't really grow. They got kind of moldy.
well, next time you do microgreens, try growing on like a hemp mat because that
Okay,
will help too. Um, Bootstrap Farmer has these. I think, nope, I don't have any growing right now. I think we just harvested all of them. But typically, like we grow them on these trays, and then we just put a hemp mat in. And you
okay.
can make this in smart pots too, because we have like little smart pot sized hemp mats.
Oh, sweet.
And I just sprinkle seeds on top of that. You get the hemp mat wet, and then you're good to go. And you can
I
like
have the
water from
trays.
below,
So,
and the hemp mat like helps to keep the seeds moist. Like we've had really good luck with that.
and then how long do you are you able to like harvest from one like hemp mat of seeds? Like I know they kind of like keep
Well,
growing.
it kind of just depends on what it is you're growing too, because some things like it's a one and done harvest. And
Yeah.
some things like you can cut and they'll just keep coming for you. So things like cilantro and peas, especially too, we're always like whenever we grow pea microgreens, like we just have peas nonstop coming out of our
Really?
ears. Yeah,
Okay.
they do amazing. But yeah, and then it's something that's really fun too for the kids because they just walk by and they will literally just take a pea shoot and just eat it. Like because it tastes just like peas and they yeah. I
We
love it too. Like I'll do the same thing.
That's such a good idea. Okay, I'll do that. I'm gonna start looking into that because I have the trays. And I'll just get a hemp mat and
They have them at Park Seed too. They have the hemp mats that go into trays
that's perfect.
or in the
Um, the one thing that I have to talk about from the garden last year were the zinnias because those
Uh-huh.
were like the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Like the tall, colorful, beautiful flowers. Like I'd never been like a flower grower. I've never really been. I like tell my husband, buy me like a plant. Don't buy me flowers. I'm just not a flower person. Like
Hmm.
bouquet of flowers, you know. And we loved those flowers. They grew like as tall as us, so like almost 6 feet tall. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, they were so beautiful.
Yeah, the zinnias that I had, the Parks Picks, that is that the ones you're talking about? The Parks Picks? Yes. They were huge. Yeah, they were taller than I am, and I'm 5'10". So like they were they were up here. I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
And the colors are unbelievable. I saved them all. I've been like throughout the past few months, just like sitting when I have time and gutting the seeds from the dried flowers to plant.
Oh,
So this will
that's
be
so
my first
great.
time like taking seeds from something that I've grown and trying to plant them
Look at
again.
you go. That's great.
So I hope it'll work because I just loved those flowers. They were so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And then I got like the short ones to put in the front yard so it could have a little bit of that color popping too. Because holy smokes, like for like a $5, like if you want to like do anything that's going to have a huge impact, it's like $5 for like a pack of those seeds, right? And I mean, they just like lined my fence line. They're like so easy to grow and like everybody who walked by would say something. They were just the colors were unbelievable. That
Yeah.
was that was like one of the most exciting things to do with the kids too, because they're learning their colors and oh, so beautiful.
Yeah, my 2-year-old would help us whenever we were cutting some zinnias for bouquets. Every time we would cut, like she would take it and then she would go run over to the vase, stick it in, and then she would just go
Oh,
back and forth and she was just organizing them and oh, she loved it. That was her favorite thing to do.
those are like the moments where I'm like, am I in a movie? Like, is this real life? You look around, there's like these beautiful flowers, these gardens, these happy kids with flowers. Like, there's nothing better.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it was really fun. I have so many videos and pictures of her just in the garden, just
Oh,
with these zinnias. It was amazing. I miss having my zinnias, and because we would always have bouquets like right behind me, and
oh,
I would always have them with me. Right now, I still have leftover poinsettias from Christmas though,
I know
so that
that looks
at
great.
least I still have something.
All of the plants look great.
Yeah, it's exciting. But I can't wait to get started on more of the park picks. I agree. Like those were my new favorites because the blooms were huge. The stems were like super thick and sturdy, like perfect for cutting bouquets. Like they were
Yes.
so prolific.
They were so beautiful. Like, yeah, just like I said, like out of a dream. We just couldn't believe it. So I'll be like starting a ton of them inside, as many as I can inside, because just getting started early with like having those blooms and stuff was so nice. I started some inside and then I direct sowed some,
Oh,
and those
nice.
like grew just as well outside actually,
Mhm.
but they didn't get like as big and as like they didn't get as bright and beautiful like as quickly. So I'm like, let's get the ball rolling on that.
Start all of the zinnias.
Not all of them. Like I said, as many as I think I can handle inside because that's like a lot. But just getting it started is so fun.
Yeah, I feel you. I just did like an entire tray of petunias the other day.
Oh,
And so I think it's what, like 72 of them or something. Because there was like an entire large tray of them. And I cannot wait for those too.
what did you grow? I'm growing those this year too.
Oh gosh, oh man, I don't even know. I did it all on a live stream though.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I can watch it. Is it like a
Yeah.
variety of colors?
Oh yes. Yeah. I went through and pretty much every variety that had something pink in there, I did it. And
Yay.
then there was several of them that were new varieties too that I wanted to try out. And one of them, oh, it was Daddy's Mix. It's called that. I know. I remember because it was so funny, and I grew it last year, and it was one of the most like hardiest petunias I have ever
Really?
grown. Yeah, like Because I am not always the best gardener. Like I forget about things a lot, like anybody
There's
else.
like a lot of things going
I
on.
know, like, and there'll be times that I'm like, I don't remember if I've watered that hanging basket in a week or two. It's like,
Yeah,
And but this particular mix, like, they just did not die, no
okay, I
matter
need to
like
put that one
how
on.
long it took me to water them in between. I was just amazed. So
I like to
maybe I
go
was
with
lucky, but
varieties of things that are hardy like that too. It's less pressure, and like when you're doing something, it's like finicky, or it's like
I know I
let's
hate
screw this
that.
up.
It's like all of that work that I put into it is,
Right. I
yeah.
know.
So
Where
I was
what's
very happy. I was like,
what's your
I need to grow these daddy mix again.
yeah, you got okay. You got to send me a picture of your daddy's mix. I got a mix of colors too, but I don't think I would have remembered if it was called that. But I think they have pink, like pink and purple and orange, and I got them for the hanging baskets too.
Yes. Yeah,
So that
I'm excited. I started them in a flat, and then once they get big for there, like we transplant them out and like put them into hanging baskets and like hang them in our garage until we can move them out. So
nice.
yeah, I'm excited, and I feel like that's like one of the biggest things that we do to save money on flowers, because I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
used to buy so many petunias. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like I would, yes, I spent way too much money on petunias,
I don't think
and
there's a
by
such
doing
thing.
this, I know, right? But doing this is like one of the biggest ways that I save money,
Oh, it's
honestly.
okay.
Yeah, because I mean, one packet will give me an entire, hanging basket or
Right.
more. So,
And if I'm starting, because I learned this last year, starting things from seeds gives me an investment and like a connection to what I'm growing. And I take it so much better care of it than
yes.
it's just something I get. And I'm not as like, I mean, it might sound silly, but I'm not as like in tune with. So starting from seed, like if I can't start it from seed, I probably don't want it.
I 100% agree with that. There is just something to be said about doing it yourself, and you're almost just like babying this seed. It's your baby, and
Yeah. But then if you take me to the nursery, I like want one of everything
I
still.
know
You know?
I'm
I like,
guilty of that too.
oh, it's so pretty. I'm like on my phone, like, I could probably grow that here. Try to make space. We have like our son, like we have big oak trees in our backyard. So I have like a side yard where I do our garden, and then I'm doing like flowers in the front. So everything has to be super strategic with how much sunlight. If I had a backyard that was full sun, we would be in danger. It would be everywhere. So it's probably good. It limits me.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I have different areas of around the house that I have to grow things too, because we do have quite a few trees and large trees and all that. Because like even right here, like this is probably our sunniest window in the house, but we
Right.
still like in the afternoon, like we have large trees back there that will shade it out. So we put in some. I don't know if you can even see, but we put in like grow lights right here,
Oh, cool.
and like you can't even tell that they're there. Like the only time that I can tell
So
that they're,
smart.
yeah, the only reason I know is because like when they click off at night, I'm like, oh, it got darker. But
That's so smart.
yeah, but they're just like right there, like where there's already a line, and then we have fishing wire to hold it up so that way
That
it's like
me too.
visible.
I need to do something like that because I need something through the winter for like my herbs and stuff that's
Oh
not like
yeah,
growing. Like after you baby and grow your seeds and everything's outside, like I don't want to keep that going inside just for like a couple of things. So that is so smart. I
yeah.
think
I
we,
even have like a little miniature tomato over here too, that's growing on the window ledge. It's exciting.
oh, that's too cool. How smart.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
love it. That way we can have like tomatoes and peppers because there's these kitchen mini varieties that stay like super small and compact, like under a foot. And
really
we grew them last year. Yeah, oh man, they give you so much for the size. It's incredible. And
I
I
need
just
to
had them in like these little 1 gallon smart pots and they did great.
And you keep them on the ledge there under that light right there.
Yep.
It's just like you keep the light on throughout the day, and it's a combination of the natural sun and the light, and they do great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so smart. All
Yeah.
right.
Love it. I love it.
Like,
It's the best way to grow indoors. Like, I mean, and we have this on it's on a timer, so I don't ever even think about it. It
that's so
just
smart.
clicks on and then clicks off.
I'm gonna like
So
go tell my husband. So, babe, I've got another thing that we can do. He loves it. Like I just will send him like TikToks or like things that I see of people doing in the garden. He gets excited about it too. He like loves it as much as I do.
oh,
Thank
that's
you.
great.
And
That's
he's
great.
like strong and like likes to work outside and do all that stuff because, especially with like two babies, I'm like I can't be like moving like so much dirt all the time. And like when I do have like nap time, free time, that's not what I'm going to be doing. I've got a million other things to do. So like he could go out and like knock that stuff out. So I'm very grateful for that. I couldn't do it on my own.
Yes. Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure. So what would be your best advice for somebody just starting out?
It's probably the opposite of what I've read when I was starting out, which everyone said like start small. Now, granted, I had like planted and tried things before, but not here and not like from seed or in this capacity whatsoever. But I just like got excited and like I said, I had just had two babies. I like needed to like I need something that was like almost like a challenge, but also like stimulating like mentally where I was learning and working with my hands. So I just went for it with like all of the different things and learning where you can plant things, how you can plant things, how you can grow things. And that was the best. I feel like it took so much pressure off of me knowing like, well, I did just kind of go for it. I planted all these varieties of different things. If one thing doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. If the kid steps
Yeah,
on this or this falls, it's not the end of the world. So I can see how if you're like going into it wanting everything to like, be so perfect, it can be overwhelming because I think gardening is kind of
that's true.
always overwhelming. There's so many different like variations of things that can happen based on where you live or, just the soil at your house. So, like if you're a person who can get overwhelmed by that, then don't take this advice. But I just put things in smart pots and beds and grow bags on a trellis. We got like cattle panels from Tractor Supply to grow like
Yeah,
pumpkins and watermelon, and I think that was like the best part about it because it's like a lot of like happy surprises. The flowers turned out. I just was like, let's put these zinnias by the fence line, like never thinking it was going to be like magical. And it was just so fun. So like letting the kids get involved and not worrying if something fails and, you know, just starting from seed was obviously like a really great way to get into the process from the beginning and like bond with your plants and get them outside and then take care of them and watch them grow. So yeah, I just say like don't be too timid because I was gonna say the worst that can happen is they die, but that like sounds terrible, right?
well, no, I do love that advice. Like it's grow more than you think you need because I mean, a lot of it, like no matter how long you've been gardening, you're bound to make a mistake.
Right.
And yeah, just grow more than you think you need, and then you'll always be good.
Yeah, try it. If it fails, like try it again in a different way next year. It happens every year. So I just think, yeah, don't take it too seriously and like let the kids get involved if you have kids because that was really fun.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you are going to be changing from last year?
I'm not growing cabbage. I didn't like cabbage like took up too much space and you have like these like moths in them
Yes.
and
They
it was like
can be challenging.
gross. It was like gross to get them out and I'd like sneak cabbage in like some soups and stuff, but no one was like super into it. So I'm not going to be growing that. I'm moving where we had like the pumpkin and watermelon trellis because I don't think it got enough sun. So like moving that around, more flowers, more varieties of the tomatoes. Um, I'm going to like really tackle, especially with pumpkins and watermelon. I had like a powdery mildew issue. on those last year that kind of got out of control. So I had to like learn about that, and I mean, we like figured it out. But I think if I start tackling it from the beginning, it'll be a lot better. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, powdery mildew can be tricky. Were you doing overhead watering at night or?
No,
Hmm.
because it was on the cattle panel, so everything was like in the dirt. I don't
Really?
know what we had grown some pumpkins the year before as well in a different spot, and I had that same issue, and that was in the ground. So I don't know if it's just like the weather, like the climate or whatnot. So I'm gonna try like the milk people spray
Yeah,
on.
the milk spray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried
I've used that
hydrogen
before and
peroxide.
it really does do wonders whenever you
Okay,
go.
I'll try that. I did hydrogen peroxide last year, and like I said, like we kind of got it under control. I just like trimmed a lot of it, but
Mhm.
I think it really stunted the growth of the plants. So we'll work on that and just hopefully have as much fun as we did last year.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah, that's how the garden should be, is just fun.
Yeah,
Fun for everybody.
yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. If somebody, so somebody watching wants to follow you, how do they find you?
You can just look up Anne Marie Goodell on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, um, and I share a lot of our gardening journey and my kids.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining, and hopefully, we'll be meeting again soon and
Yes,
chatting more about how your garden's going, maybe later on in the
yes.
season.
Okay, I love that. Thanks, Carrie.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Thank you, everybody.